Hello, 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 I'm back and I'm going to be doing some Let's Plays. It's been a while. I've been busy with stuff like Skyrim and work and just general bits and bobs, combined with a lack of things that I wanted to do any Let's Plays on. I decided to do a Let's Play on this game here, Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, which I've been playing an awful lot. I'm absolutely useless at it, but I thought it'd be quite entertaining to do a quick video on it, and it's also quite good to, if anyone wants to get into it or likes games like Dungeons of Dreadmore, which this is very similar to, though this one's a little bit more hardcore. So it's a similar vein to Dreadmore. It's a roguelike. You get one life, you die, that's it. You've got lots of skills, lots of classes, that kind of thing. The only difference is this one's online, so you know, you can see what other people are doing, watch them, and it's also a hell of a lot harder. So there's your address if you want to play it yourself. I'm going to be playing the graphical version rather than the default ASCII one, so it's a little bit different. It's a bit of a cop-out. I know hardcore people always say play ASCII, but really can't be bothered with that because I can't bother to learn what all the bits mean. Same with Dwarf Fortress, really. So there's two ways you can do this. You can either go to downloads. That will give you a downloadable version which has better graphics and runs generally a bit faster, but I highly recommend you actually play online. Reason for that is that anyone who dies in game leaves a ghost behind, and you can encounter them during your games, which gives you a lot of XP if you kill them. The other thing with it is, of course, you can watch other people and see how they do, and there's an IRC channel you can join and watch what everyone else is doing and that kind of thing. Now it doesn't seem to be actually working while I'm frapsing for some reason. Come on. Alright. Be right back, let's sort this out. Right, there we go. So this is the screen you get. So these are all the people playing various games here, and what level they are and what they're playing as. You need to log in. There's me. So let's start the game. The graphics on this, as I say, aren't as good on the online version, and you have to learn to use the keyboard. I'll go through a bit of it, but to be honest, you can figure it out yourself. There is a tutorial which is actually quite good. You don't really need much else. There's also a wiki page. Be careful if you're using the wiki. It's good to learn general information, but the specifics of it are quite out of date, and a lot of it will be wrong. But it's quite good for looking at weapon stats and stuff. So let's go. We're going to play Crawl 0.9, and here we can choose what we're going to be. Okay. Now, I quite fancy playing a Hill Orc Priest today, because they run around with a big army of orcs, and it's a nice one to show how different mechanics work. So you've got all these different options here. They're all very, very different, and they're the only thing in the game which is completely preset. If you choose one of these, for example these are all the different professions you can have. Now all this really does is set up your starting skills. You can change them during the game. It's kind of like Oblivion or Skyrim, where you can practice skills and just learn up new ones, so it's not really an issue. But I'm going to be playing a priest. Right, and here we are. Wonderful graphics and all that. So just to show you what's on the screen, obviously you've got our main characters here in the middle here, and you've got various items which will be picked up, highlighted in green. You've got a mini-map on the right. Bottom left is your text status and stuff, and then you've got your stats up the right here. It's quite simple really. You've got your health, magic, that's self-explanatory. Armor class, higher it is, the harder you are to hit. Same with evasion, that's for dodging instead, and then SH for shields. Experience level below that, how many you are towards the next level, what you're actually wielding, which in my case is a +0 orc hand axe, and what you've got in your quiver, which is nothing. And then you've got strength, intelligence, dexterity, pretty self-explanatory, and where you are. And above that you've got Hill Orc of Bo, or however you pronounce it. That's the god I'm worshipping, and the stars after that is how favoured you are in the eyes of your god. So first thing first, if you press M, you get your skills up. So I'm skilled in fighting, axes, and invocations. First thing I want to do is switch skills by going that to manual. Auto mode means that as you use the skills, they go up. I'd rather do manual, which means your XP is just divided equally amongst your skills. Okay, generally easier to plan that way. You can press start and see all the skills in the game. I generally leave that off because it's easier. The only things to really note on here is the little red +2. That's how easy it is for you to learn the skill. The higher the better, and what level you are in the skill. Okay, we're going to turn invocations off. I'm pressing C because I don't want to learn that. And that's it really for the time being. So we're going to start moving around. Generally, I move around in this game just by pressing O, which is auto explore, and it will stop when it finds an enemy. So here we are with a bat, and then you just use the numpad to attack it, and you just basically just walk into it to attack it, and it tells you down the bottom what's going on there. Okay, and it leaves behind a corpse. What you want to do here, you can see it says, oh, you see here a bat corpse. What you can do is chop it up for food. You need to keep yourself fed in this game, otherwise you starve to death. And some things are good to eat, some things aren't. But this one is, so you press C, and it chops the bat up. And if you look at my inventory, I now have a chunk of bat flesh in my inventory. That will rot eventually, but it's good to eat. And so you don't want to use all your permanent food sources, like my meat ration, because that will keep forever. And here you can see the other things I've got. I'm just wearing a robe, and that's it at the moment. So, we're going to continue. Here we have a kobold who's shooting darts at me. I'll kill him. And he has dropped a dagger. Not really interested in daggers. Go pick up a scroll. Everything in the game, kind of like Dreadmore, is unidentified when you pick it up. The only way to identify it is either use a scroll or just use it and see what happens. I'll generally do that later. So we've got a newt here and a goblin. They're going to all die. There we go. Now notice the corpse here is highlighted in brown. That means it's poisonous. Well, no, not poisonous. It's got a chance of making you sick. It's not very good meat. But I believe my character can eat rotten meat. That's slightly different though. That's meat that's gone off. That's just nasty meat in general. So we'll continue. This is obviously a big fire pit. You notice the game's automatically put X's around, which basically means I'm not going to automatically run into that area. You have to do it manually. I'm going to grab this gold and run out, because I'm not going to walk through a fire pit, obviously. And that seems to be blocking off a load of loot in the middle there. There's not a lot I can do about that. I've got no way of getting through that, so I'm just going to ignore that for now. Let's kill this newt. There you go, I've reached level 2. Ding! Which hasn't given me anything really. It's every time you level up you get more hit points, and you've got a chance of upping one of your stats. Other classes, other races get bonuses to various things, and you can sort of evolve and things like that. So there you go, my fighting skill has now gone up to level 3. Fighting skill dictates hit points and just general fighting ability. It's quite a general skill. It's always good to have if you're a melee character. I'm just going to chop a few of these up. Okay. Now some gods, when you have corpses, you can prey on them and it will actually sacrifice them. But the god I'm worshipping doesn't really care about that, so I don't bother doing that. I'm going to chop up this one again. I've just walked over an alarm trap there, which is this one here, on the right. That basically just alerts any enemies around you if you're being stealthy. I'm not being particularly stealthy. We've got some scale mail here. I'm going to get that, pressing G. If I go into my inventory, you can see it's in my inventory there. And if I press I, which is the letter next to it, you can see what it is. And I'm going to wear that because I'm only wearing a robe at the moment. So there you go, it's now showing on my character. And I'm going to drop the robe, so I don't need that anymore. Okay, so we've got 2 people shooting at me. That's okay, I should be able to take these on. It's always a good idea to fight them one at a time though, so I'm going to chop up the corpses. I want the rat corpse, I don't want the kobold corpse because it's green and that means it's poisonous. Okay, right, now I'm quite low on hit points, so if you press 5 it rests until you're healed up. You don't want to do it too much though, because the longer you spend on a level, the more enemies turn up. So I just picked up some food there and some more scrolls, some gold. Oh, and an amulet, that's quite a nice thing to have. And I walked over another trap. There's a bat here. Okay. I mean, when you do play this, if you give it a go, the best thing to try is a nice easy character like a mountain dwarf fighter or something like that, or a minotaur berserker. They're generally easy characters to start off with. But as I say, I'm used to with this game. I'm not actually got very far on it at all. So I'm not going to be able to demonstrate to you the later parts of the game, because I can't get there. I die every time. There are hundreds of levels in this game. So this time when I've leveled up, you see I can choose between strength, intelligence, dexterity. I'm going to choose strength because I want to bash stuff up in combat. And if you notice on the top right, I've got 2 stars next to my name now. And if you go into the religion screen, you can see what your powers are. So at the moment, he watches over me, just, you know, in general. He likes me using Orcish gear, and I can also smite my foes. Generally don't do that though, because every time you do it, it costs you favour with your god. So you only use it in emergencies. It's good in a pinch though. And every god, of course, has their own, abilities and likes and dislikes. Some of them will get really annoyed with you if you do certain things, like there's a berserker god. If you start using magic, he'll get very upset with you and start punishing you. So you generally got to do what your god tells you to do, which is quite cool. And I think they should add that in Dreadmore. I will be doing Dreadmore videos, by the way, because I believe there's an expansion out soon, or a large patch. So I'll do a few more of my hardcore random characters, which are always a lot of fun. Right, I finished this level now. I'm going to go down to the next one. Off we go. So you go downstairs, and we are level 2. And let's see how we're going on. Before we go any further, I need to find out what that amulet was I picked up. Oh, he's going to run away. Fine, I'll leave you there for now. Right, if I go into my inventory, I've got all these scrolls here. Now, one of them should be an identify scroll. I can identify the amulet by wearing it, but it might be something bad, so I'd rather not. So I'm just going to go through and read the scrolls one at a time and see what they are. So this one might be an identify scroll, and it is, straight one, there you go. It's an amulet of resist mutation. That's pretty useless really until later in the game, so I'll keep hold of it, but I'm not going to put it on at the moment. I'm going to use these other scrolls to identify what potions I've got, and because potions are generally more risky to drink than scrolls are to use. Scrolls generally won't do anything particularly bad to you. There's a few nasty ones, but nothing too bad. So as you can see, I've got 2 bad potions, which are highlighted in red, so you don't want to drink those. And then you've got 2 normal ones, a might potion and a levitation potion. So I'm going to drop the bad ones, because I don't really want those. And that means in future, my character won't pick those up by default. Oh, I'm hungry. There we go. So I'm going to eat. If you press E, it automatically eats the most suitable item for you, which is always going to be your temporary meals first. So you can just press E and it will work it out for you. So let's get on with killing stuff. I want to get to the good stuff. There's a snake here. He has a poisonous bite. They can be quite nasty, those snakes. There's a newt. Kill the newt. Leather armor, that's rubbish. Identify scroll. Obviously things you've identified stay identified, so when they show up in the dungeon you don't have to do it again. Chainmail, is that better than scale mail? I don't know, but this one's magic. It's in blue, therefore it's a magic one. Be worth seeing what it is. Scale mail is 5 armor rating. Chainmail is 6, so it is better. Armor automatically identifies when you wear it, so I might as well. If it's cursed, it's cursed, but it's not. It's plus 2 chainmail, so that's pretty cool. Let's drop my old armor. Obviously, the heavier the armor you wear, the harder it is to dodge, and the harder it is to hit stuff. Now, sooner or later, because I'm now wearing heavy armor, my armor skill will train to level 1, and then I'll be able to start training it up. So I've turned dodging off. I don't want dodging, because it's -2, and my character's not very good at dodging. So you might as well play to your strengths, which is why I'm going with heavy armor and not running around in a robe. There's a stair down there, and there's a snake. That's the one that ran away earlier. And he's poisoned me. Yay. So my health starts ticking down until the poison's cleared. That generally happens on its own. Though if you do get down low, then you do want to cure it. And it's gone already, so it wasn't particularly a good one. It's eating again. Hungry. Kill the newt. Kill the goblin. Obviously all these different monsters have different strengths and weaknesses, but at this sort of level, they're all pretty much fodder. They all give you various problems. Like this one's fast and I can't catch it, so I'm just going to let it go. I don't really think I need to point out that the game is very random. Every time you play it, you're going to have different items, different layouts and different areas to see. Sometimes, I mean, I've played this game, I must have played it over 100 times now. I mean, I'm quite obsessive on this game, I love it. But I've never seen some things. I mean, sometimes I'll just come across stuff and go, whoa, what's that? For example, this one is a altar to the Shining One, but I already follow a god, so I'm not going to be going near there. And there's a sort of starfish thing here. Let's kill that. There you go. Hungry again. Oh, there you go. I've gained the armor skill. Right. We'll turn that on. Start leveling that up now, which will make me better at using heavy armor. Giant might. Comes a snake. Ah, me orc, me smash snake. These red stairs, by the way, are one-way stairs, so if you go down them, be sure you know what's on the other side. because you might drop yourself into a load of enemies. But I've finished this level, so I'm just going to have a quick look at what I've got here. Right, let's see what more of my potions are. It's a good idea to know sooner rather than later what your potions are, because in this game you will be running away a lot, and it's good to have emergency sort of panic buttons. So healing potions, speed potions, they're highlighted in yellow because that means they're quite useful. Always a good thing to have. Of course you want to know what your scrolls are too, but they're generally not as used in emergencies unless it's a teleport scroll. And I'm going to find out what these 3 or 4 scrolls here are, so let's see what J is. J is a nothing appears to happen. Now that doesn't necessarily mean the scroll does nothing, it just means it can't do anything at the moment with what my situation is, so find out what that does later. And this one is an enchant weapon scroll, so now I have a +1 +0 hand axe, which is cool. And this scroll is a nothing appears to happen, so we don't know what that is. And scroll O is a curse armor scroll. So now my chainmail is in red and I cannot take it off until I get a remove curse on that or enchant it. Now I have a curse one. That J scroll might actually be a remove curse scroll, and it is. What's the chance of that, eh? Generally they're quite common, so you don't have to worry too much, but you do have to worry if your weapon gets cursed, because if you don't have a sharp weapon you can't butcher anything, so you have to rely on your food stocks until you get it uncursed. And I have starved to death before because I've not been able to get any food. So we're on level 3 now, and obviously each time you go down a level it gets more and more dangerous. So if you find a level too difficult, there's not a lot you can do about it because you can't really go back to an earlier level. Your best bet is to skip it actually and look for easier pickings on the level below, because you do get a lot of very nasty stuff roaming around which you can kind of ignore and come back to, because they'll stay there quite happily until you get back and you can just spank it silly. So here's my first orc. I'm not high enough yet to convert orcs to my side, but you notice that he's in red. Now what that means is that if I chop that corpse up, my god will be very upset with me, but I can pray for their salvation. And he is now greatly pleased with me, and the orc corpse slowly crumbles into the ground, which gives me more favour, so it's always a good thing. And here comes a kobold.